Hi everybody, I am Brian Mullins the Fox, and instead of ranting about what would have been the TikTok ban that wasn't, I have had something better in mind. I don't get why nobody has thought of this as an idea/concept that should also be state or even federal law. But before we get into the grisly details as to how and why this should be a law in the first place, I'm going to add context for those who are curious. On January 22nd, 2025, I started a text poll on my YouTube community tab page, asking the following: should the parents or parents of a dead school shooter that's a minor or under the age of 18 be prosecuted and be sentenced to life in prison without parole simply because the shooter in question can't be tried because they're both dead and under the age of 18? I don't know if any of the 50 states has that as a law or not. I hope all of them do. It depends on the family structure on a statistical basis. The bad parent should be made just as responsible with the blood of the minor shooter and other victims in question on their hands, in my opinion. It's not that millions of these shootings happen every year, so the fact that anyone would be thinking that this would be a massive disturbance is beyond me. Many people voted, and most of who voted just so happened to have had the wrong opinion early on. But that has changed in my favor somewhat, but fear not all hope is lost yet. There's always a slimmer of it, and I'll cling on to as much of what's left of it. The fact that anyone puts parents on the highest pedestal instead of directly hitting the nail on the head and swallowing the giant pill of their own pride, saying, I helped cause this because parents like me are ignorant and or may or should be held legally responsible if need be. It shouldn't have to matter whether or not they, as in the parents, were involved in egging the shooter on or directly inciting or being involved in the shooting to begin with. And now, let's get to it. Number 1, the parents would tend to get arrested for a crime that only a child committed under their noses. It could be any crime. Kids can't be tried in the court of law because they're not adults. 2, if the suspect, that's either a minor or even child, dies before they could ever be tried in a court of law as adults later on, the parent should absolutely be the one held most responsible and serve the utmost time behind bars. No fucking questions asked. Number 3, we need to stop enabling the cult of ignorance that we all live in. Parents can and always will be at fault only in situations just like this. 4, if the mass or school shooter that died was 18 or older, this wouldn't matter all that much, because if they were adults, parents would not have to serve any time in prison, but they still deserve all the blame for piss poorly raising them into being Fabergé eggs to begin with. It may not be fair in your opinion, but quit your crying. It's only fair enough because it shouldn't have to be a law in the first place. It only needs to because of parents like you. And 5, it should be a complete deterrent for any other parent to keep themselves in check if they don't want to go to prison. And to answer that question of should parents be held legally responsible if a dead mass or a school shooter happens to be a minor? Yes, and only if the suspect is or was a minor and died before they could ever begin to have a chance to be tried in court. Anyone else who insanely suggests or argues to me otherwise can suck on this fox dog dick. Now here's the ranty part of this rant video. You all will be rightfully entertained with, well, it won't be too long, but brace yourselves regardless. If there is only a special place in hell for parents or people who aren't parents making excuses as to why we shouldn't, you know the fuck what? Hell is a far nicer place than where they actually belong. That's how fucking bad they are. It would be the gravest insult to the fieriest pits of hell, and that's the worst part about all of this. And if Satan comes a-knockin', tell him hell in a handbasket is a beautiful bouquet of roses. Sure, but they'll never bloom. At least they're not rotten eggs. And don't even fucking get me started with reimbursing the families of the victims of said mass shooting, and it doesn't have to be just one. It could be literally any one of them, no matter how minor or major in scale, or any of them that involved a minor as the perpetrator, much less an adult one. Oh, well, since our kids have been shot by another kid or an adult, how's about we throw more money at it and see if that makes us feel better inside? Never mind the fact that just throwing money at a travesty like this won't do nothing else but line the pockets for nothing. Onward to the next shooting, I guess. Never mind the fact that throwing money at shit like this will never get you back all those lives you lost. Because while you cry, piss, and whine about what we should do about tragedies like this, you can't ignore, let alone deny, the real root and stem of all mass and school shooters, without denying that shootings like this happen in the first place at all. Don't throw money at it. If you do, fuck you. Don't advocate that we ban anything because of it, let alone semi-automatic rifles or weapons, because that makes less than no difference. And if you do anyway, fucking fuck off. You fucking pieces of shit let it happen all the time. And we're supposed to feel sorry and bad for you? And for what? It's not our fault that you're a bunch of god-awful parents. It's not my fault for sticking to my guns and knowing where to aim my words at. It's not my fault that I am who I even am for saying all this shit. And if you are one of many, many parents or public figures who are this ignorant and are someone else who has their head up their ass talking about how we should ban stuff like video games, violence and entertainment, porn, the internet, etc. Fucking rot! Just fucking sit there and rot and let the freshest of young blood live without you. They'll wise up somehow. The same people who tell us we can't blame parents for all of this happening are the same ones accusing us of romanticizing crime when they're doing that themselves. And no, I'm not romanticizing school shootings. Fuck off! I'm not normalizing or romanticizing shit like this, simply because I understand the underlying cause and traits of said shooters. Narcissism, entitlement, being raised in a bronzium fucking bubble, impenetrable by even the faintest criticism. Stop throwing money and your cares at people who will never give back to you as a parent, and those who will never get back the lives they exploit for money and brownie points. I would rather be so bitter that no one will bite back at me and say, who the fuck do you think you are? Maybe you all are the ones who are romanticizing mass or school shootings and shooters by profiting off the tragedy like it's never the fault of parents at all, when they always are. Maybe you all are the reason why romanticizing crime is a thing to begin with, because none of you narcissistic shit for dicks can take any blame, no matter how well deserved and earned it rightfully is. I don't justify any tragedy like this for money, clout, or political fame, but similarly, I don't want to ever let a parent like that, or a parent like what I've illustrated in this video, get away with what should have been a first-degree felony in this country, much less any other. None of this is ever something someone should need to throw money at. All it does is cheapen the experience, figuratively and literally. It's not bad enough that shitty policies in support of gun control and the like are the reason why these shootings continue to get worse, and far less preventable. Oh no, let the cult of ignorance thrive despite all we could do and could have done. Had it not been for only us alone, I and many others who feel the same outpouring of rage are stuck with listening to ignorant buffoons and lousy niggardly crybaby politicians who have their thumb on the scale. Why the hell should we have any sympathy for these people? Just why? Topics just like this tear away at my soul, and it's a good thing that it does, because I don't want to end up with scars in my heart being a parent who raised Fabergé eggs. And I don't want to be chicken knowing I can lay eggs anyway. And before I'm done with this video, I just want to say, I've made myself clear, and anyone else who says that this was all a waste of time and I should stop doing commentaries or rants altogether, fuck you. I'm Brian Mullins the Fox, signing out. Whoo-wee, that was fucking good.